Hey, so it's good to see you guys. Thought today was thought the whole process has been good. There's been improvement. I think for our younger guys, you know, to play fast, we would call that playing green, kind of put themselves out there in an area where you can make a mistake and you can do something wrong, and make those mistakes and learn and then attack it the very next play. I think really that's the thing, because then all the false stuff is out the way and we can be true and real about things. And I feel like that a lot of that is happening now, and there's a lot of that today. And then I thought with some of the veteran guys, some of the transfer guys, Mike Smith's been just continue to impress. Keytron had a bunch of long passes caught and runs and all of it. And then, we're getting good things from Jake, in terms of blocking and catching and all of it. So just way impressed with the effort today. I think it's a step in the right direction. Still a long way to go. I feel like the youth of the team we probably need to do more things wrong and learned that that's not the thing to do, to have an idea of what's right. Take questions.
Dave, it sounds like a lot of those transfers you're expecting a pretty major impact from. Is that right?
Yeah, they're really like the veterans. I appreciate the question. They're the veterans in the room, and so it's such a different dynamic than maybe any other time, And so you look at our stretch lines are generally an illustration. Whoever's in front is thought of as the leader per that position group, and a lot of those guys are the transfer guys, and I think some of it just comes from they've been in fights before, they've been knocked out before, they've gotten back up, they've dusted themselves off, just all of that, and I think there's a great respect there, and off of days like today, so every day you're somewhat different in terms of the growth and how you approach things and everything, and so. Mike moving forward, Keytron moving forward from today, some of the things they did will be even more so. So excited for that.
Dave, a lot of younger players, but also a lot of new members to your coaching staff. How have they adapted kind of throughout this early spring? Really good. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think I'm way comfortable and excited about the staff. I think, I don't know, just personally probably have screwed it up too many times. And so now that there's an opportunity to try to get it right, I think, in terms of, a lot of that's just knowing who you are and knowing kind of what you value and knowing kind of what it is. And when you don't know that, it makes it hard to find people that match all of that. And so the more that's defined, the easier it is to get people that fit. And I feel like, you to be able to believe something and say something, for them to be able to take that and in their own way take it to the team, I feel like that's really strong right now.
Do you have any players that aren't going to be able to participate in part of spring ball, or who are going to be limited during spring?
We've got a couple guys that are coming back off of injury. Brooks Miller had a concussion. Let's see, Kelsey is coming back from a leg injury. I'm hopeful the next scrimmage he's playing in it. He was around today. And so nothing that is going to, Garmin Randolph, I think, had a heel injury. I think he may be the very end of spring. And so there's some guys that we're expecting to see everybody. Some of them may be later.
Dave,
yeah, in spring.
How do you feel like Isaiah handled last year's situation, and then maybe coming into this spring, how has he handled all of that?
Appreciate that. I think Isaiah's a very strong individual. I think the insides of him are, there's great depth there, great perspective. Is a humble view of things, and so I think all of that helps when you're in the midst of just things aren't working right. This isn't how I thought it would go. This isn't what I was, put my head on my pillow at night. This isn't what I was dreaming on.
And so I think for him to handle it the way he did and then continue to push to get better. And, in the midst of all of it, I think, it can be, there can be, when that stuff happens, just a bunch of, it's, the competition is a thing, and then there can be other things that can come off to the side of it. And there never was with Isaiah. And that's just not him. And so for him to continue to work, inside out to get better, I think we're seeing it now. So way excited. I think his best football is ahead of him. And so, big fan of his.
The QBs, how's that competition?
There's good things. I think, Sawyer continues to push just with his, maturity and his leadership and his energy. And then Blake has had really this whole week with Blake has been really good. I thought on Tuesday was a really strong day, Thursday was good, and then this was a really good day for Blake today. And so he's starting to stand up a little bit straighter, look you in the eye a little bit more. He's kind of coming into his own, which is a cool thing to see, which is really the thing.
You mentioned one time that the SEC-type defensive linemen compared to what you've seen in the Big 12,
Mm-hmm.
they just go.
Mm-hmm.
And you're more scheme-oriented with
Mm-hmm.
what you have. Are you getting to that point?
Appreciate that. Yeah, I remember that comment when I first came in, and I think to put perspective on that, I think especially at that particular year, 2020, a lot of twist stunts. This was Oklahoma with all the twists and stunts, and then Kansas State at the time was that way too, and the blitzes, and TCU at that time too. Coach Patterson was that way. And then, we ended up doing a fair amount of that as well in 2020. And I think, as it goes, you look at some of the front people that played last year for K-State, and you look at some of the front people that played for Tech, and you look at some of the people that we're playing with now, like what can be possible with Gabe, like what can be possible with TJ, and then some of the freshmen that we got that have opportunities to play. I think it is changing in that regard, in terms of just the, hey, here's a guy that they're going to, this is their Jimmy Chitwood. They're going to clear the floor, and he's got the last shot. And I think that hasn't really been the case. And we're hoping that can be us. I know for sure, particularly this past year, we faced those teams. So that's a good point. I think it's changing.
Coach, I asked Garrison, kind of non-football related.
Uh-huh.
He said there's no April Fool's Day pranks that have been pulled today.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done that to any of your teams, or do you have anything planned for today?
No, yeah. I have to imagine there's been things pulled on me that I haven't figured out. So I'm still trying to catch up to it.
Today, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.